Previously in X-Men. We should be singing that every time. The televised battle rages between order and chaos, with our band of outlaw mutant heroes pushing themselves to the edge as humanity watches. Forge has revived Storm's mutant abilities, and the pair are captive, along with the Guardian of Order, known as the Goddess Roma. Meanwhile, the X-Men battle in the streets of Dallas against enemies that defy comprehension, as the timeline and reality have become playthings for chaos personified, known as the Adversary. I am Jason Lapidus.
I'm Chris Hannigan.
And we are a group of 7 comics. Welcome to episode 161 of our ongoing live stream read-through of the X-Men comics that became classic as we read Uncanny X-Men 227 by Chris Claremont, Marc Silvestri, Dan Green, cover date of March 1988. How are you, Chris?
I'm good. And I just realized that the Adversary is a bit on the nose. I mean, they could have just called him the bad guy.
The antagonist.
The antagonist. And then I've also thought that when you were mentioning Roma, Goddess Roma, and I was like, yes, Goddess of Roma tomatoes. Those delicious, delicious tomatoes that we grow in our backyard to help make tomato sauce.
Well, as you know, I mean, in mythology, particularly the as they would say, the classics, gods and goddesses are often, they encapsulate more than one concept. They're, like war and wisdom, right? Mm-hmm. So she's got order
and tomatoes. That's right.
I mean,
To be fair, I gotta say, I prefer San Marzanos when I grow them. I'm just saying, Roma's is still pretty. They can in a pinch.
There's room for all of them.
In here. Right in here. And I'm putting my belly, not low.
Yeah. Other than that, you're good, I hope.
Yeah, no, I'm good. It's Tuesday. Just came back from my bi-weekly D&D. So ready to jump into this.
There's lots to talk about even before we get into the issue.
There are. You're right. There's
some MCU kind of, there's all sorts of things to talk about. Now, first, let's start off with Ali says, "Happy Tuesday, all you awesome nerds, and happy 50th anniversary of Giant Size X-Men." So, although we are aware that it debuted in 1975, Ali, I haven't checked. Is this the week that Giant Size X-Men came out?
Is the day.
Is it actually?
Apparently, April 1st. Ali posted something on the gram, tagged us in it, took a look at it. Looks like it's April 1st, 1975.
I had absolutely no idea.
Yeah.
About that lineup. That's too perfect for me. That I really like that. I'm happy to hear that. That actually warms my heart in a very special place. That issue's always meant a lot to me, but now there's a little bit more there. So that's awesome. I think there are a few of those kinds of things from 75 that I have a close kinship with. SNL, Jaws. That was the year Canada adopted the metric system.
Right.
A few of those.
The band, the 1975.
There's a band called the 1975? I don't know. Yeah. Is Taylor Swift in that group? I don't know.
No, but she dated the guy from the group.
I was just kidding around.
Oh, I'm not.
I know you're not.
There's a song on Tortured Post Department about that guy.
You're past that. Michael says, "Hello, everyone." Matt says, hey, X fans, how you doing? And Jason Jose, hey, X Troop. I like all these are all different names for X-Men series, like the X fans, the X Troop, the Everyone, and the Awesome Nerds. Like, these are all good names it's better than X Factor. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, that one's just...
And the Exterminators, the Fallen Angels, Excalibur.
No, Excalibur's super cool.
It is, but how they didn't veer into the X at the beginning of that, I can't understand.
Right. I bet you there was a conversation about that. And it's like, what if we didn't do it? Whoa.
I don't know. I would imagine at some point in the 90s, they did do a version of Excalibur that was like X.
Eczema. Everyone just has like itchy skin.
Sorry. Okay, we have to stop. This is going to go way too far. So Mass says, yeah, they did that for Age of Apocalypse. Yeah, I mean, to me, it's even the brand. It makes perfect sense. So I'm happy they did that. I had no doubt about I had no idea about the 1975 T-Swift connection. Thanks for that brain wrinkle, Chris.
I'm happy. I'm happy to provide.
If nothing else, Chris is good for brain wrinkles. That's definitely something that is going on inside of that noggin of yours. I mentioned to you just before we came online that I want to know if you have been up to date on Daredevil Born Again, the Disney Plus show, and you are only 3 episodes in. I think I'm 5 or 6, whatever, because 2 episodes came out last week that actually gave me a strong opinion, one way or the other, as to how I'm feeling about the show.
Okay.
And I would love to bounce that off of you, but we're not going to do that this week because you have not caught up. So
no, I'm going to catch up this weekend because what I did just catch up on was last episodes of Invincible,
right,
latest season. So that was anyway. But yes, I will catch up and we will chat because I want to catch up.
Yeah, I mean, you and I are both big Daredevil fans, but I like to always imagine you as the biggest Daredevil fan.
Can I tell you something that you might find really funny?
Sure, man.
Okay, so there's a guy who I work with. I've asked for advice, and he's a lawyer, and he works at a different ministry. And so I work in the public service here in Ontario. And he works in a different ministry, and we've asked, and his name's Matthew.
This is really funny, by the way.
His name's
I'm
Matthew,
laughing.
and he looks like his face, like when he doesn't have the glasses on, his face looks. He's got like short hair, a little bit of stubble, and I'm like, and I just want to like just DM and be like, has anyone said like, have you ever gone as Daredevil for Halloween? Like, has anyone ever said like, hey, you're Matthew from here and you're Daredevil? Like, has anyone made a Matt Murdock joke? I don't know. I haven't read it though. He's kind of sheepish, but he's kind of. I'm like every time he pops on my screen, I'm like, oh, it's Murdoch.
Does he always have like a split lip or bruises?
See, that would be better if he did, but he doesn't. But There's a guy, I'm just like, come on, man, someone's got to like call that for him. You know what I'll do? I'll be that guy, and then I'll report back and be like, yeah, it turns out he's not talking to us anymore because I don't know.
That would be great. That'd be a really good decision on your part.
Thanks.
Don't do that. Yeah. We'll see how that works out. Let's talk quickly about Toying Around ToyCon. It's going to be May 3rd, and it is not the next event that we are at. It's actually probably something that was in the works today. It might be the third next event we are at. But I wanted to just shout out, of course, to our pal Kevin Toying Around. We're going to be there on May 3rd at Thorno Community Center, which he's. Oh, dude, Kevin, I'm going to be on you for this. He spelled it wrong. He spelled it the American way. Center.
Oh, yeah.
Anyway, all good. Looking forward to that one. So it gives us like some dates, and I put that in the calendar, right? We got the Halton Hills Fan Fest is in like 2 weekends.
Yeah.
Very, very, very cool. Very good. I'm excited for that. Matt says, isn't May 3rd Free Comic Book Day? I understand that it is.
It is.
And it might be the last one, by the way.
I didn't know that.
For the foreseeable future, as far as I understand it, Diamond is the facilitator of Free Comic Book Day.
Oh.
And with them, going out of business or whatever reformation they're taking, it might mean it isn't a guarantee. Not that it ever would have been, but it isn't as easily a sure thing that next year there will be a Free Comic Book Day. So to me, it's a great day to like go hit your comic book store and then come up to Thornhill and come to the Toying Around ToyCon and get some awesome action figures. There'll be so many used action figures just at our table.
Just
if you want to get some cheap ones, because I always undercharge. I'm always happy just to put them in the hands of people who appreciate.
Yeah,
we're gonna have a good time. So get some. You load up on your X-Men, load up on your Marvel Legends, especially. Whatever teams, X-Men, Avengers, all that kind of stuff. I'm gonna be partying with many. We'll have a great time there. We'll also be doing signing and selling books, and I hopefully will get to sketch for some people. But there'll be the voices of Wolverine, not just this Wolverine.
Cal Dodd's coming back.
Cal Dodd's coming back, and George Booza's coming coming for the first time. So we're going to have Wolverine and Beast, the voices of X-Men 97 and X-Men the Animated Series will both be there. That's all I am. That's all the knowledge I have that I can reveal at this moment in time. A really great retailer named E-Collectibles will be there. They have an amazing selection of action figures too. So it'll be a neat one with comic creators, vendors, actors, and fans galore way up in Thornhill, and it'll be a nice time. So I'm looking forward to that. And then, of course, after that, you and I are headed to Montreal. Can't wait. And then in June, we get to have, I'm going to just say our favorite home show.
Yeah.
Sure.
I
would love it if we had met there. That would have been a lovely romantic narrative, but it does not work that way. Not sure what the next slide's going to be. I'm going to push and see what happens. Right. Let's just go into this. News dropped last week. Marvel dropped it in, I don't know, maybe the most annoying way possible. They had a live stream going of just like a chair and music, and it was just the chair that said Chris Hemsworth, and it was like static on that for hours and hours and hours, and then eventually it kind of engaged as there were thousands of people in the chat waiting and postulating as to what was going on, and then it panned down the row of chairs. And for Avengers Doomsday, the next movie, the next big event in the MCU, in relation to, of course, this show and our interest in the X-Men and the connections between the comics and the other media that have, propelled this franchise into the stratosphere and kind of, with 13, 14 X-Men movies and from Fox and from Marvel, like it's incredible how many have come out. Like there are more X-Men movies than there are Avengers movies, if you want to, get nitty gritty on that. But they announced that these actors are going to be in the cast. I think maybe it's going to be a little bit of cameo action, but they're going to be in the cast of Avengers Doomsday. So we've got Rebecca Romijn is returning as Mystique. Patrick Stewart is coming back again as Professor X. Of course, not forgetting he was in Doctor Strange, the Multiverse.
We need to see him die for a fourth time.
I will say that I think they did sort of state that in the Multiverse of Madness that version of Professor X was the version from the animated series.
Really?
Like in real life, like a live action animated, because he had the animated series chair.
He had a chair, yeah.
That it wasn't the one from the X-Men movies. It was a different Professor X. Channing Tatum is going to return as Gambit after his outrageously fun and campy appearance in Deadpool Wolverine. James Marsden is reprising his role of Cyclops. Alan Cumming coming back as Nightcrawler.
Yeah.
First time since X2 in whatever year that was, 2002, 2003. Pretty incredible. Ian McKellen returning as Magneto, and Kelsey Grammer returning again as Beast. Right. He did voice, in that photo there, he is under the makeup, right? In X3, The Last Stand, he physically was Beast in all the scenes where it was showing his face. Of course, he didn't perform stunts, but he did reprise the role in the post-credit scene in the Marvels, which came out a couple of years ago. But that was a completely CGI character, very, very, very visibly CGI character. So he's coming back again. Yeah, man. Do you have any thoughts on this? It's a lot.
It is a lot. It's a real scattershot of characters, and these are just the ones they announced, right? So
I think that's a really good way of looking at it. That if they're going this far, the idea that if you're going to do another multiversal experience where all cards are on the table, the idea that Deadpool's not there and that Wolverine's not there, is it's a choice to, like, they're leaving reveals for down the road.
I will say that definitely as a consumer and a fan, and on this pod, but also I've seen all the movies, and announcing these people as part of the cast for Doomsday in whatever form that takes makes you want to see it like opening day.
It works,
right? That definitely speaks to that. I'm sure it's going to be, this is the kind of thing you want to see and be like, whoa, did you see this? Hopefully,
Right. And I can't imagine that, everyone gets their fair share. Like not everyone's going to have a chance to get their due.
Yeah.
Looking at what we had in, let's just say, Deadpool Wolverine, that was a small group of cameos compared to what we have here. The list is enormous, and they haven't revealed. Don't forget, in that huge row, it was no Guardians of the Galaxy, mind you, as of yet.
No Guardians.
No Spider-Man, no Doctor Strange, no Iron character.
No Marvels, like no Brie Larson or anything like that.
No Marvels. So there's lots of room for more to happen, and I don't even want to start speculating what the story is. It might just be. You didn't see The Flash, did you?
The one, like the more recent one with Ezra Miller.
Yes,
I did see it on an airplane, because that's where you watch it.
Yes,
good. It was a great airplane movie.
I don't think it was a great anything, but anyway, it's a great
tray of the food. And you're like, I'm gonna not eat this, but I'm gonna watch the movie.
So in that, as they're looking through the multiverse, there are all these different worlds as like windows to those other worlds.
Nick Cage, Superman.
Sure. So like that's really all that I'm expecting, and nothing more than that much. If we get anything more than that, to me, it's all bonus.
Right.
Yes, Matt says horrible movie. Yes.
Yeah, it's not great. But when you're 30,000 feet up for 2 hours,
I just was referencing just the way in which those cameos occurred. I'm not trying to say I'm inspired by it or hope they are. Just the idea that they're behind a window. Allie says, I didn't see the live stream, but saw the X-Men Instagram stories with the backs of chairs. So excited. 395 days. Gambit and Bucky and Loki. Oh my. Yeah, it is a huge cast. And of course, I'm not going to go into the other lists of people that are going to be in it, but it is, like I said, really extensive. And maybe it'll be worth it. I don't know. I have no idea. I was thinking that was going to be maybe for Secret Wars, but it's for Doomsday. So we will see. Supposedly, Mass says Halle Berry might show up too. Yeah, let's get why not get everybody, right? Like, I was surprised that it was this version, not the McAvoy and Fassbender.
This is the Fox, right? This is like if it's, and who knows, maybe we'll get them too.
Yeah. I would love to see all of it. So who knows?
It's gonna be like, you're right. Like, how will they? They announced this cast of 25 characters, or the heck it is. We all know that there's only so much screen time. We all know that will they just be this little, kind of 10-second lip service, but my gosh, like, there's a lot. There's a lot of people who are. I guess when you look back at like Infinity War and Endgame, it was everybody.
Yes.
Some had more than others, but generally
that Endgame battle is like
everybody. And so, maybe that's what we take as a cue for, maybe introducing all these.
To me, that's best case scenario.
Right.
Is that you have the X-Men as a group, you have the Avengers as a group, you have like all these different teams. You know what? If you're doing that, get the Defenders in there. I want to see Luke Cage. I want to just see Danny Rand. I don't want to hear him act. I want to see Danny Rand powering up. I want to see Daredevil, Jessica Jones. Like, I want to see everybody. If you're going to do that version of there's a war on the ground and we need every combatant. Yeah, get them all. Get all three Spideys back. All that nonsense.
Everybody who's ever played anybody.
Yeah. I want to see Ben Affleck Daredevil. I want to see Nick Cage in multiple roles.
Nick Cage, Ghost Rider, right? Got to get Ghost Rider in there. Yeah.
And Spider-Man Noir. Yeah. They're doing that series.
They are doing that series, yeah. Mulaney's got to come back as Spider-Ham. It's going to be good.
More Mulaney as Spider-Ham. Yeah, I would take that any day of the week. That's a lot. Should we save the Marvel Legends stuff for the end?
It's up to you. I didn't even know there was Marvel Legends things. So there you go.
All right, since you asked. I had to put this one in because I'm just so excited. Not X related at all, but it was an easy repaint. They're giving us another She-Hulk in her Fantastic Four gear. So, like, for me, that's a no-brainer. And they're giving two heads, one with the hair pulled back, like all business, and giving her weights and everything. And it's the other one I have in the purple suit it's such a fun and perfect adaptation anyway. But X related, we're getting a new Weapon X.
Oh.
And I gotta say, I can't believe how much Barry Windsor Smith is in that face, the unmasked face.
Yeah.
The team at Marvel Legends said this is the hairiest the hairiest figure they're ever gonna make. But of course, that's assuming you're not including characters that are like parahuman, like
Sasquatch,
like Beast and Sasquatch and Wendigo and that group. She's like, I'll twist my arm, Jason, when figures are barely mentioned. I was the one who brought it up, right? True. So Chris is like, oh, here we go. So all new parts, everything like that for me, and this is going to be on a retro card.
Oh yeah.
So like it's a no-brainer. I'm super excited to get my hands on this. And I wonder, just from our perspective, if we are going to cover this storyline. It's dense. This storyline when you and I, like on the show.
Yeah.
It's after Claremont's run.
Yeah.
It might be like one of those things maybe we do when the show has reached its end of Claremont. Like let's pick and choose what we want to talk about from there. But candidate to discuss. But yeah, it's a must-have for me. Which means at ToyCon I'll be selling the older one.
Right. There you go.
Right.
There's your sneak peek.
Yeah, as well as there's a new Mystique, like on new pinless, on a new body, and all the good things, and extra head.
Interesting non-Mystique head.
Yeah, so it is the Jean Grey as the Black Queen.
Oh,
they released. They did a
right.
like 4 or 5 pack of the Hellfire Club.
Yeah.
And it was like maybe an Amazon exclusive, that kind of thing. And if it's Target or whatever, correct me if I'm wrong. It's fine. So it was an exclusive set, and I didn't pick it up because some of the parts they're not distinctive enough or not original enough.
Did it have Leland? It didn't have Leland. There's no point.
It did. It had Leland on like a wider buck, obviously.
Yeah.
It had Shaw.
Wingard?
Maybe you had all of them.
Tessa?
Wingard, not Tessa. It had Emma Frost in the corset version.
Right.
Yeah, it was... I just didn't find it appealing enough, the look of it, maybe. And they've just taken a quantum leap in terms of like painting and body sculpts in the last couple of years. And so like a lot of things just need a refresh. Yeah. So they said they wanted to give an extra head with this pack, and they thought that would be a good one to go back to because it could use the modern paint on it, like the digital like photo paint that they do. Mm-hmm. And it would kind of be unrecognizable. You could imagine it's Jean or not. You can make it a second character, but it's that her hair is like in that bun behind. Now I want that head just for photo reference, so I can draw women with the hair and a big bun back there, because I've been doing a lot of that in the last few years, and 3D model is always helpful. But good Mystique is always a good thing. Mm-hmm. Anyway. Those were the X-Men related ones. They also came out with all of the Thunderbolts Asterix figures.
Oh, the movie one.
The movie ones, MCU. Have you heard about like the new subline they're doing called Maximum?
No.
Maximum Marvel Legends. So there is a huge there's a jump in action figures between the ones that are like mass produced for common retailers like Walmart and Target, Toys R Us, GameStop, and then the ones that are made just really, really specifically for adults from like import companies, where they're more highly articulated, more detailed, more accessories, and $150 price point.
Okay.
So there's this gap between like the $40 figure and the $140 figure, and if you own one of those expensive ones, like the difference it's massive, and hopefully it's more rewarding to have in your collection as a fan. That being said, there's a lot of room above what Hasbro's been doing for them to try something a little more. And often, they're always price conscious, and they kind of enter particular brackets, and they stay within that bracket. So they decided to have a new subline, or whatever you want to call it, an imprint called Maximum, Marvel Legends Maximum, where they'll take a flagship character. So they've released Spider-Man, and it's on all new parts with a little bit more sculpt and all the accessories you could possibly imagine.
Right.
Like fully, feet bend, like shoulder, every part of it moves the way you would imagine. It's like an upgrade from the common figure that you get off the shelf that I would own. It is not like twice the price, but with a stand and like way more web shooting, like web special effects, like the splatter, like in mid-flight, unmasked face, like unmasked wrists. So like it's way more for that person that wants to do like toy photography and customizing. And
right.
The collector that might go to an import, they're like, no, try ours. Try this. It's going to be cheaper than the import one. And it fits in with your
collection. Like a $75, $80 Canadian price point kind of thing?
Yeah, around there. So they show the second one today, which is the Incredible Hulk.
Yeah.
And it's like, he can pose, he can like do his slap, which is like the flexibility in his body and all the extra parts, and it looks incredible. Like it knocks the Hulk that I have out of the park. So if someone wanted to get like the best possible version of those best characters, you'd want to put out for that. Like when they do a Thor like that, I'm in.
Right.
I'm that's like the one I would do. You know what I mean, man?
Sure, man. I know what you mean.
All right.
When they do that Guardian one, I'll be all over it.
You're such a bum. All right. I have to take this one away.
Yep.
Look at your face.
Just
this one in.
Okay, here we go.
All right. Are you ready for
Everybody's flying?
The end of the Fall of the Mutants, which, by the way, doesn't feel like much like a Fall of the Mutants to me. I'm not sure it lives up to this the kind of description that comes with a title like that.
I agree. It's a bit misleading, but
I feel like it's a big deal, but Fall of the Mutants more, I don't know. It doesn't seem like it aptly describes what's here. All right, let's do this, bud.
Okay.
All right.
Here we go.
Dallas, Texas, Eagle Plaza. The night of the end of the world.
Neil? Miss, we're there. Manoli, don't. Wetherell? Miss Wetherell?
Yeah.
Okay, that's a Miss Wetherell Maloney. Don't be a fool. Let me go. My partner's in there. He and the X-Men both, and they're beyond our help. Hey, Commander, Freedom Force, everyone. What is it, Pyro? We got pictures of Manoli's video monitors. Reception ain't the greatest. I can fix that. I don't believe it. Holy Toledo, the transmissions from Neil. Video and sound together. It's impossible. It's a miracle, but he and the X-Men, they're alive.
I feel like at some point you're going to be reading Pyro, you're like, Brit and Jermaine. It's like it would be the funniest. I know they're New Zealanders.
They are, a little different, but yeah.
Funniest members of Freedom Force. They're so like disengaged from that level of intensity and aggression.
Agreed.
The Belly of the Beast. A Stan Lee presentation starring the Uncanny X-Men. Reminder, at this point in time, Stan Lee is an employee of Marvel. He is a spokesperson. And he was kind of, doing signings and appearances and things. And mostly there to help negotiate or just make contacts for deals for the small screen. And, was definitely not working in the comics anymore. Writer Chris Claremont, penciler Marc Silvestri, inker Dan Green, letterer Tom Orzechowski, colorist Bill Ray. Oh, Glynis Wein is gone.
Yeah, wow. Is this the first one?
Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
Editor Ann Nesenti is back. right? She didn't do the last one, did she?
Oh, I don't know. Maybe.
We've had someone else on for a bit, haven't we? Hasn't Bob Harris been the editor for the last little while?
I don't remember.
Okay, editor-in-chief Tom DeFalco. For the record, my name's Neil Conan. I'm a reporter for the National Public Radio. A moment ago, I ran across a lobby of a modern skyscraper, smack into the Vietnamese jungle. And a pitched battle between a force of NVA regulars and what can only be described as demons. This is crazy. But then the same can be said for everything else that's happened tonight. I'm not alone. I came following the X-Men. They're mutants, which to most people makes them outcasts, objects of fear or outright hatred. Fortunately, they don't feel the same about us. I just want to point out a couple things. I like the group of X-Men running through that portal. And there's Neil Conan with his camera.
Yeah, oh yeah.
And, he doesn't fit, and that's kind of cool. I do like that spread across the top, where the X-Men are there. And the Vietnamese are fighting demons. It's bonkers, truly bonkers. I also think that Silvestri might be the guy that kind of workshopped and worked on the torn up Wolverine mask.
Oh yeah.
So as we get into Inferno, Wolverine's mask, the spoilers during the Inferno storyline, the X-Men each become visibly more demonic.
Okay.
As the time with like these portals to, let's just say, hell open, they each get modified or they start to embody some characteristics. And Wolverine's mask takes on a little bit more of a drastic design, but I feel like it's kind of starting here, like the way that Silvestri is putting that hole on the side of his mask looks very cool.
Yeah.
Big shiny fella's Colossus, armored body with strength to match. Note he's wearing pants. On the cover, he's wearing,
I was going to say,
just little briefs. Wolverine's their boss. You don't want to mess with him, ever. Especially since those retractable claws of his can cut through anything. Tall man, all in black, he's Havoc. Aptly named since he fires beams of focused, coherent energy plasma. How do you think he knows that?
Well, he's a reporter.
Oh, true. So he's reporting.
He's reporting.
I hate to say it, but watching him in action, I suddenly realized why some folks are so spooked. He's a man wielding the raw power of the sun. What are we compared to that? That's a good question. Dazzler transduces sound to light. She can flash fire multicolored strobe effects, solid photon pressor beams, or lasers. Somehow, though, that featureless mask has been bonded to her face, so she's effectively blind. The X-Men's telepath, Psylocke, is staying close by her. I guess she's using her psychic powers to link up with her crippled teammate and function as Dazzler's eyes. Weirdest sensation, hanging about a person who can read your thoughts. Not sure I like that. The happy-go-lucky leather blonde is a long shot. Hey, leather blonde. I've never seen it moves like his. I'm told he's lucky. That's his special power. I hope it's catching. Last up is Rogue. Her powers speak for themselves. I don't know that. Okay.
If they do, but
yeah,
very roguish. Don't quite sit right saving these North Vietnamese army folks after America fought them in a war and all. But I guess the bottom line is we human beings got to stick together. In this reality, comrades, an event that actually happened or some fantasy creation of the Chaos Winds that threatened our world, and all I've ever heard about Vietnam, there was no such mention of such monsters as these.
You can really see in that bottom, that was like a redraw.
Yeah.
Yeah, like the word, the monsters as these. I like the idea. Have they mentioned the phrase "chaos wins" before?
I don't think so.
Like sometimes just naming something really helps the concept sit. So the idea that there are these chaos winds that are blowing through Dallas, that are these ripples in reality and time, that works with me really well. But I kind of needed it named, and maybe 2 issues ago.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Forgot to mention a civilian. Don't know if she's part of the team. Pilot named Madeline Pryor. What am I trying to prove? I was insane to come along. I'm a normal woman. I have no powers. And yet, little as I am with the X-Men, I'm less than nothing without... Oof! Stupid, coddling, careless. I don't like when they call themselves bad names, man.
Yeah, I know.
Stumbling about a battlefield in the dark. Serve you right if you got yourself killed. American infantry. Dead. Wiped out. All but one. Yeah, I recognize the face. He's the guy I think the X-Men are looking for. That's Forge! Wait, can't be. This is the war. It ended years ago. Different Forge then. A young man. He's chanting. Energy like fire burning around him. I want to point out, if you've been reading or following along, if you've been reading the X-Men comics all the way or following along with the show for, probably a year now or more, there was an episode where they go into Forge's, into the tower that they kind of are in now, but and there was the hologram that Storm interacted with, where she saw the program that Forge had created that was a reenactment of some of his experiences in the Vietnam War. And this is connected to that.
Right.
And I think now I'm having trouble remembering if those were the Barry Windsor Smith issues or not. But it might be that Barry Windsor Smith co-plotted and inadvertently or unknowingly planted a major plot device.
Okay.
We can talk about it after as we get through. But this is a scene that has been played out before in hologram in this series. So putting that out there.
Okay.
The X-Men told me he was an Indian shaman, a medicine chief, as well as a mutant like them. Is he casting some spell? Merciful Mother, those shapes rising from the bodies. Spirits? Ghosts? Souls? Those are his friends. What is he doing?
Spirits have I summoned in the ancient tongue and by the sacred ways. Their life force have I claimed. Now let the strength of their warrior souls open wide this last and greatest gate, that their death may be avenged.
No!
Huh? What's that? Scream. So many screams. Air full of them. Killing ground. I should be happy. Charnel pit, this valley. Sanity. My soul. I didn't know. I was scared. I was angry. Didn't want to die. Wanted them to pay. But not like this. Overlord. This is Forge. Situation desperate. Require immediate arc light. My position over and out.
I know the term. He's just called in an airstrike. Overheads. Buffs. Unload. Big, ugly, fat fellas. B-52s. Designed to drop hydrogen bombs. In Vietnam, they carried conventional ordnance. 60,000 pounds worth. From so high an altitude that you never knew you were a target. Till the world blew up in your face.
Madeline, it's okay. We're okay.
No, Havoc. Not okay. Not ever again. The end result was the utter and complete devastation. Did you see, X-Men? What Forge did? So, just before we go further, I don't know if it's spelled out clear what Forge did here. And then back to my point before that we made time and time again about them kind of going by the seat of their pants when they're creating these stories.
Yeah.
Being able to plant whatever he did here being able to plant this months or years ago and bring it up once in a while might have really lent itself to raising the stakes or emotional tension of this climax. So he's summoning spirits, and he's claiming the life force of his soldier compatriots that are either wounded. I guess they're not dead because they wouldn't have the soul. I mean, I'm playing around with how I'm imposing my understanding of death and souls onto this. But if they're still alive, they have souls. So he's claiming their souls from the wounded, and let the strength of their warrior souls open this last and greatest gate, that their death may be avenged. So he's like letting things. He's opening a gate. Is it letting demons out or forcing demons back? But he's using their souls to cast a spell.
He is, yeah. He's taking their, yeah, exactly.
Right. Okay. That's all I know so far, and he obviously is he wants someone to pay.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not exactly sure more than that, but that seems like a major thing. So we shall continue. Remind me also, you're the adversary and I'm Roma. Is that?
Yeah, I think so.
All right.
For all your compeers' courage, Storm, they have at last begun to comprehend how hopeless is their position, how lost their cause. I am bringing about a new age, but first the old one, all its peoples, all its works, and most especially its celestial guardian, the Lady Roma, must be cast into primal chaos. I offered you and Forge the chance to be part of that transcendent glory, soul spirits of the world I was creating, parents to its race. By defying me and returning to the fray, you have condemned your world to the abyss of ultimate oblivion. The saga of the human race will come shrieking to its end.
My life is devoted to the defense of this earth. No dream, especially yours, adversary, is worth the wanton butchery of 5 billion souls. We are not toys provided for your amusement. We are people.
But I, dear Storm, am a god. What are your precious lives and souls and fates to me but toys? Oh, now that you've regained your mastery of the lightning, you wish to strike me down with it. Vain hope when I can twist any force or power you care to throw against me to my own purposes. As I turn aside your wind and make of them a wall to protect this starlight citadel. This has been the most delightful of contests, Roma, but you and your pets are beaten.
Not so, adversary, as you shall soon learn. Dallas. I'm moving some things off my desk. It's a little crowded with knickknacks and jars of ink.
Patty wax and dog bones.
Yes. What are patty wax?
Mm-hmm.
Are they things?
No,
You know about the patty whack machine? Was that a thing for you when you were a kid? At birthday parties?
No. You tell me, what's a patty whack machine to you?
Oh, a bunch of kids line up on the floor and smack a kid in the ass. we would before.
I think your birthday parties needed a code of conduct.
It was the early 80s, before you could open up like your birthday present. We would all stand in a line with our legs open in the line.
Yeah.
And the birthday boy, in this case,
had to go
would have to crawl through like the machine of all the hands slapping him as he crawls through.
No, I never did that. You sound like Paul Shear. How did this get made?
Yeah, it was.
Right. Everyone's like, "What did you do in your childhood?"
We also might have called it the machine, but it was
right.
It was like patty wax. It was time for everyone, like for you to get spanked.
Someone else, Michael chimed in the chat. He did that too.
Usually as a loser in a game.
Oh, Masso, I remember that. And the foursome. Okay. Okay.
We just love the idea of it being like a machine you had to go through. Like,
yeah.
It's just basically getting your beats, right?
Gauntlet.
Yeah, the gauntlet. Exactly. I don't think we knew the word gauntlet.
The gauntlet of ass wax.
The paddling of the swollen ass.
Of the swollen ass. And now. Good times.
Oh my god. Just Michael and Mass. Did you guys call it patty wax? Did you have another name for it, or anyway? Curious. It's
Whacking Day was an excuse to beat the Irish. That kind of thing. Is that?
Okay, Dallas.
So
Manoli's speaking.
That's an interesting thing. Just that,
yes,
because he's directing. It's direction to let us know who's speaking. But I don't think we heard say anything like that before.
Michael called it patty wax.
Okay,
there you go. Good man, Michael.
Wow. Do you know what I'm saying? As a device, though, right? Dallas,
yes.
Manoli speak. You don't say like Wolverine speaking, right? Anyway.
Yeah.
Transmission's one way. We're receiving real fine. We just can't contact him back. The network satellite links are still solid. For what it's worth, I figure we got the best darn rating in world history. All we need is a happy ending.
There's nothing left, Manoli. This valley's as barren as the surface of the moon. Maybe that's for the best. Sorry, my voice keeps shaking. Horror does that to you. You would lock your legs to get it. You extra wax. Like, don't let the kid go through. You block him. Oh my god. Maybe the reason I stopped having birthday parties.
Yes,
in a hand. Kids are going home bruised. Oh my god. Sorry. I'm going to start crying. It's so funny. Whew. Here as we can determine, Forge, who I guess was a magician. I almost said musician.
A musician.
I did have a drink before this. I have to apologize. Who I guess was a magician, cast some spell, opened a kind of dimensional doorway, and summoned an army of demon creatures to slaughter the Vietnamese forces that had wiped out his own command. So there it is spelling out for us.
There you go.
What do you think, Wolverine? Did Forge have second thoughts? Try to stop what he'd set in motion? Or was the arc-like bombing strike an attempt to hide the evidence of this atrocity? Get that flaming lens out of my face, bub. I'm a reporter, mister. Take a drink. Covering a story. Busybody, more like it, who can't mind his own business. Look, you people complain about how the public views mutants, and especially the X-Men. You take some perverse pride in being outlaw, unsung heroes. Is that how you want things to stay? I don't know if my broadcasts are getting through, but if they are, this is a chance for everyone to see the life, to see you live as it happens, at your best, at your worst. Shut me off, you go back into the shadows where nothing's certain and anything can be a lie. You want to fight for your cause? And you have to do it where people can see.
Sounds good to me, pal. And long overdue. Problem is, where do we go from here?
That Forge we saw vanished with the bombing raid. I sense Forge's thoughts, the man of our time. Not that past life phantom. And Storms as well. They're in that floating citadel, together with two others. Life resonances of such power. They beggar my imagination.
I'll scout the place.
Be careful, rogue.
Honor always shoulda. Mighty impressive. Don't look, though, like anybody's home. Whew! Spoke too soon. Wind so strong, can't buck it. Tossing me away. Lordy, this is gonna hurt. I
always love when characters leave or go to high orbit, and then come back down, and they're like in the exact same place where they
Sure.
they could be hundreds of miles away, like the arc of flight up and back. That's Rogue, right?
Yeah, but I think the first
is Conan.
Yeah.
Meteors have hit with less force, yet miraculously, Rogue's still alive.
Hey, Mr. Conan, just 'cause I'm cute don't mean I ain't tough. You watch yourself, Madeline. My costume's more rags than not. Anyone touches their bare skin of mine, I'll absorb their psyche and powers, which I say every issue.
Who wouldn't want to accidentally
do the bad guys work for him? Oh, that's Madeline.
Yeah, it's Madeline. Wouldn't want to accidentally do the bad guy's work for him. So much for the direct approach. Appears we're no match for this adversary as individuals, which means our only shot, slim as it may be, is to confront him as a team.
Great idea, fella. Only the creeps up in that floating castle, protected by a stinking hurricane. So tell us, Wolverine, how the heck are we supposed to confront him? We can't even reach him. Couldn't Longshot pull us? I mean, his bones are hollow. If that wind is strong enough, he might be able to soar on it. Like the sail of a kite, hauling us along behind as its string. And most importantly, his incredible luck might well bring us all safely through the maelstrom.
Now, didn't they try that approach before where they're like...
They did in San Francisco.
Did you drop or did you flew?
Right.
And it didn't work out well for anybody.
No, but, she can't see this time. She can't remember she said it already.
It must be so weird, like, for her to have this blade coming out of her skull.
It's so
Do you think the weight of it is like it weighs on her neck at all, that she has this extra... I mean, I know it's not heavy, but you'd really feel it. When I had a knife stick in it, never mind. That's for
she comes to the school of Cyclops' neck muscles.
Good point. Speaking of Cyclops and neck muscles, David Cutler, hello, Exy boys. David, how are you? David, do you know about patty wax? This is a very topical X-Men question for you. If you know about patty wax in the context of birthday parties when you were a kid, where you'd smack another kid in the ass. David Cutler says, Longshot is light enough to float with the wind. Maybe he can carry us behind him. Long blank stares. Yeah, I think, him with his hollow bones. It's a thing. We'll see how this goes. Do you think that's Rogue talking next?
No, it's Madeline.
Okay.
Says Dazzler? Yeah.
Right. Dazzler, you got to be kidding. Even David knows this is not a good idea. That's the craziest notion I've ever heard.
Yep. The ultimate long shot, Madeline.
It's Wolverine.
Yeah.
Yep. The ultimate long shot, Madeline.
You're right.
And who better to play it?
If he's willing to try, I'm willing, blind as I am, to put my life in his hands.
Well, kid, when do we start? It doesn't bother you, Longshot, putting your life on the line against impossible odds? You're here with us, Neil. Does it bother you? It scares me silly. But I'm a professional. This is my job. My friends are in the hands of a villain. I have to do whatever I can to free them. You make it sound so simple and straightforward. Isn't it? How about you, Miss Pryor? Why are you here? Where does it say, Mr. Conan, that you have to be a mutant to believe in what the X-Men stand for and be willing to fight for it by their sides? What beliefs? To echo Martin Luther King, a world where people are judged by the content of their character, not by race or color or powers. We're all human beings. Why can't we all be treated like it? Not freaks, not monsters, people. Be nice if that dream came true. Unfortunately, chances or none of us will be around to see it. I have a son, though, and a husband. Be nice if they could.
If y'all coming on this joyride, saddle up.
Just like the Light Brigade, into the Valley of Death, the belly of the beast.
Ain't that a cheery thought? Y'all hold tight. Don't know if I'll be able to catch anyone who falls. I'm so glad I can't see what's happening. There's the maelstrom. Be lucky, long shot. Everything rides on this.
Yippee-yahoo!
Tame that big wind partner like a rodeo wrangler would a bucking bronco.
I don't get what he's supposed to do up there. How's he supposed to tame the wind? So he goes up, the wind comes, he just gets swept.
Yeah. But he makes it through somehow?
This is crazy. I'm doomed. We're all going to die. I want to cut loose. Run away home to Leanne and the kids.
Leanne, up to me at last. My armored form anchors my comrades to the ground. To release this line will deprive them of my strength. Therefore, I must transform. Despite pain, yep. You got the touch. To flesh and blood.
What the heck? What a way to go. What a gang to go with. We're through. We made it. As the other ones were like down, getting blown in the wind. He's happy on the other side of it. Three people held prisoner against that pillar. The one who isn't, who's standing free, must be the bad guy.
I knew you'd try to reach the Citadel, but to actually succeed, magnificent. What? These blades, their substance contains cold iron.
Rogue, I heard him.
Lucky boy, now it's my turn. Hate this. Thoughts, memories, dreams, realities, another person's psyche filling mine while his powers flood my body. Supercharged. Normally my touch KOs him right off. But he's still awake, still fighting. Don't mind the blood. The more you touch me, sucker, the more I take from you, the stronger I get.
What's Coot?
I mean, you know.
Okay.
Okay.
Pull away, Rogue. That's a cool Wolverine.
That's cool, Wolverine.
You've done your part. Leave the rest to me.
Roy, no. Cutterman won't do any good. She speaks all right, a little man.
Oh, no, she's now got his voice.
She speaks, I don't know, man. Little man, for it's not your claws that do me harm, but the substance they're made of. Wham! To me, your unbreakable adamantium counts as less than nothing.
This is Colossus.
Yeah. Longshot's blades are a steel alloy. They cause their full pain. Logically, then the adversary may prove even more vulnerable to my living steel armor. Who? I am Colossus' villain. You're not supposed to be part of this game. And where stand the X-Men, there stand I. Boy, his body! The demon sheds it like a snake, his skin to reveal his true form. Roma, my sly sweetling, I didn't think you had it in you.
Before you turn the page,
Yeah.
see those superhero pins for $5.95 at the bottom.
Cool. Did you buy them?
No, but when I see things like this, I think about the artist who doesn't get paid.
Oh.
I think about the artist who goes and draws this. I think the first one is the Wolverine there on the left. I think that's John Romita Jr.
Right.
He's not getting paid extra for doing this. And no matter how many sell, he doesn't see a penny. And then there's a Frank Miller Wolverine twice. But then there's, strangely, a Mike Mignola. In 1988, Mike Mignola, Frank Castle Punisher from a cover where he's wearing the gas mask.
Oh.
From, I believe it's Punisher number 6.
Okay.
And it's, a Mignola cover. But it's just so weird that to see his work already being selected as like kind of iconic enough that it can be used for repurposing for a pin.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. I couldn't figure out who did the Spideys, but I don't recognize them yet. But 2 Frank Millers, John Romita Jr., and a Mike Mignola. Cool. No money for them. Anyway.
How superb a jest to turn the tables on your adversary, the trickster and supreme deceiver, by sneaking in a ringer. Pity won't save the day. Scrap ain't finished, ugly. Forge's old teacher Naze fought you with these spells and shamanistic powers. Since his was the psyche I absorbed because you possessed him, now they are mine. But only temporarily, sugar. Isn't that so? Soon they'll fade, and in the meantime, while you've sorcery sufficient to open a portal, you sadly lack the wherewithal to hurl me through it. The adversary's hold on the Citadel is weakening. We're loose.
She's opened a portal with the knowledge that she has. But it's so weird. Forge couldn't open one unless he had the souls of those people.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. Now he's able to, even though Forge is the chosen one? I don't know.
I'm not sure.
Yeah.
You and Storm, perhaps, Forge, but not I. As long as he remains, I remain his prisoner.
Then, my lady Roma, we shall have to cast him out. Your hurricane winds may well move worlds, Storm, and these lightning bolts shatter them to dust, but not me.
Like she's unleashing full force there, it looks like.
Yeah.
Although the coloring is not helping see that it's coming from her.
Yeah.
Like, it doesn't look like it's directed.
You would think, too, that, like, someone mentioned Storm's got her powers back. It's only been 3 years.
I know. They're
really missing an opportunity.
How did her hair grow so much? We've only, we saw her a month ago or whatever.
Right.
Like, there's no time for that. It's. I think someone mentioned last week that this was double issue, but no, it's clearly not. We're only at page 16.
Exactly.
So it feels like they got to wrap up. The fight could be so much longer.
It feels, I was going to say it really feels they're wrapping this up fast. They're trying to.
Yeah.
What's he saying? Does Storm have her powers back? It sure looks like it, and then some. Psylocke, show Daz telepathically where to shoot. Then people cut loose with everything you've got. It's all or nothing. Hate to disappoint, but your very best or very worst, it won't make a difference. Your powers are physical. I'm not. That's why in the end you'll lose.
I think this is
Rogue. It says
Rogue. Oh, right. Yeah.
Magic can beat him, X-Men. Power of the spirit as well as of the flesh. I see that clear in Naze's memories. But he didn't give them the strength.
No, it says he didn't have the strength.
Oh, he didn't have the strength. And neither do I. Forge does. Strength and knowledge both. That awareness pure as crystal in his thoughts. This is the foe, the battle he was consecrated from birth to fight. No!
It's Storm.
Storm.
She throws the word goddess around, so it's Storm.
Right.
Forge! If you have the secret, tell us! If you possess the skill, in the goddess's name, use it!
I can't. Can't or won't. What a guy. So full of fear or shame, or is it vanity that he'll keep silent, even if it means his world's obliteration?
I understand. Full circle, is it not, Forge, for you and me both? I sought to craft a plan Omega, whereby the X-Men would fake their deaths, so as to be free to strike at our foes without placing friends and family at risk. Now I am caught up by my own tree, by a lion who will not go away. And as a consequence, the X-Men must truly die.
Yes, I opened the great gate with a spell born of rage. By harnessing the spirits of the newly slain, my men, my buddies, without their permission, against their will. The only way it can be closed is with soul force freely given. The adversary will be sealed away for all time, but it will cost your lives.
Newshound ain't part of this.
I'll take him home with me. Assuming you're successful, have no fear, Havoc. The spell will work if all the pieces are in place.
Once more, farewell, until we meet again.
Which will never be.
Not necessarily. For such as we, my love, anything is possible.
Madeline's a civilian too, Forge. She belongs with her husband and kid.
I wish that was possible, Wolverine, but Cyclops is a dick.
He's with a new redhead, the
New
old
redhead, who's also the old redhead. But there were 9 souls in the original enchantment. There have to be 9 in this.
I expected as much. Scotty, wherever you are, I wish you all the best. Find our son. Keep him safe. Raise him well. I love you. Goodbye. Ford starts chanting, and somehow his words, the very sound themselves, take on a palpable physical force. He gestures, and the X-Men transform into beings of pure energy. Then Forge gathers them into a single mass, like a miniature star, too bright to look at. Yet he gazes into its heart with wide open eyes. I'm crying, Manoli. So is he. As his voice grows impossibly louder than the adversary's laughter, mocking, triumphant. What's so funny? He's almost as though he's about to win. Till finally, with a fierce war cry, the star is thrown. And just like that, it's over.
Scales are balanced. The ghosts are gone. The spirits of my friends finally free to rest in peace. But I tell you, Roma, the price now, as then, isn't worth the victory.
She's super tall.
Yeah, absolutely.
Midnight in Dallas. It is dawn over Muir Isle, and a lonely stand of rock off Scotland's north coast that serves as sanctuary for those X-Men and friends wounded in their recent battles, among them the team's youngest member, Kitty Pryde, aka Shadowcat, watching Neil Conan's broadcast with her pet dragon, Lockheed. The X-Men must truly die. Once more, farewell.
Kitty! Yeah, Moira? Come to the infirmary, lass. I have a surprise for you.
The child phases quickly through the walls and floors until...
Nightcrawler! You've awakened from your coma! Guten Morgen, Katchen. I missed you too. Are you better, Fuzzy Elf? Given time, I think you'll be as good as new. That's great. You don't sound great. Kitty, you're hiding something. What's wrong, child? Nothing really. It's the X-Men, isn't it? And bad news. Oh, Kurt, Dr. McTaggart, it's the worst.
Dallas. The storm is past, world's end miraculously averted. Time is ordered back the way it's supposed to be, and the city with it. with one exception. Eagle Plaza. Forge's home, his eyrie, his place of temporal and mystical power, reduced to a jumbled pile of gleaming fused glass, obsidian crystal.
As I promised, Mr. Conan, we're home. Neil!
Hiya, Manoli.
When we lost your signal, at the end, I was so afraid.
Yeah, me too. So you saw?
Everything. Forge. Why their souls? Why not your own? I cast the spell Mystique. I couldn't be part of it. Murderer! Murderer!
Roma Starlight Citadel, beyond space and time, yet able to perceive and access eternity. By the standards of her race, the mistress here is hardly older than Kitty, even though that lifespan far outstrips the Earth's. Yet, into her hands has been given the guardianship of reality. As such, virtually nothing is beyond her power. Alive? But I thought, has Forge's spell failed? No, Storm. But such a gate as this, such a being as the adversary, can never, must never, be locked away forever. For from such primal chaos comes change, and from change, growth. Foul and cruel though he may be, the universe needs him. Life needs him. He is bound for an age, sufficient punishment for his transgression. And you X-Men, reality's champions, are entitled to a reward commensurate with your sacrifice. You literally hold your future, your fate, in your hands. I can return you to Earth at the moment you left it, free to pick up your lives as before, or begin them anew, or transport you to any other world, any era, any reality.
Strikes me, Aurora, your Plan Omega may have worked after all. If everyone figures us dead.
You did die, my friend. The instant Forge cast his spell, your lifelines were broken. What you undergo now is a rebirth.
Whatever. Maybe it's the opportunity we wanted to act with a lot more freedom than before.
But what about our families and friends? How can we not tell them we're alive? It's too unfair, Wolverine. Too cruel.
And if we do as you ask, Allison, how then do we protect them?
Which is better, Blondie? Hurting them this way or burying them? Because they got chopped in the crossfire. Should not the needs of many, my friends, take precedence over the desires of the few? Big guy's right. We got a lot of scores to settle. I vote we start paying them back with interest.
If this is the way we can make a difference, please, let's do it. Then you are agreed, and that is for the best. I salute you, X-Men. Magnificent though you were as heroes, all a person might wish to be, now you can do much more. Because you have become legends. Next, a new beginning. Down under.
Down under.
Down under.
Fritz, do you mind?
Hey, go back a couple pages to the bullpen bulletins or whatever it's.
Yeah.
Okay. There are a few items of note in there.
Okay.
One is, of course, the birthday party of Jack Kirby they had at San Diego Comic-Con that year. They 1988, he turned 70. So they threw him a big birthday party, and everyone came, and it was like a big surprise for him. And so they're making note of that all the guys who went,
Cool.
how awesome it was. And they acknowledge him as the co-creator of, Fantastic Four, Thor, Hulk, and dozens of other Marvel superstars, as well as scores of characters for virtually every major comics cosmos there ever was.
Wow.
So it's a sweet one. They wish him a big happy birthday. That's really cool. And also, do you know who Dwayne McDuffie was?
Name sounds familiar.
We probably know him best as being one of the writers, and I think at that point, maybe even head writer of Justice League Unlimited.
Okay.
So he's a really great creator, and like he's beloved by people. He died too young, and was he also part of Milestone? Feel free to throw that in the chat because I don't really know a lot about that. But in the interviews for all those like behind the scenes with Justice League Unlimited, he's one of the guys that's like alongside Bruce Timm, who is a prominent voice in setting the tone of those things. And in a time when there weren't a lot of black writers in comics or in animation with these big characters, he was a prominent figure and is like I said, thought of with a lot of love from a lot of people. He was wrote some real influential stories, and people really adore him. So I want to say like Static Shock might be part of his legacy, and I feel a little bit silly not knowing more. But they're welcoming him to Marvel as like an assistant editor, an assistant to an editor, sort of his, one of his first big jobs in comics. So welcoming the kid in, and it's neat to see that as they're wishing big birthday to Kirby, as he's now at this point 6 years before he passes. Dwayne McDuffie is like starting his career, which is really nice to see. So David Cutler says, he was in Milestone. He wrote Static. I think co-created. Yeah, that's what I was thinking too. I think Dennis Cowan is another one of those artist creators who definitely worked on. Oh man, what's the character's name? There's like a big superhero dude and his sidekick, and he's like, she's Rocket, and
he's Icon
and Rocket. Like that's Dennis Cowan, and I don't know if McDuffie was part of that. But one of the really fun and interesting parts of like McDuffie's life story is like they found out later that he's actually half brothers with Keegan Michael Key.
Really?
Which is connected to this show because you and I both love certain Key and Peele bits.
Sure, of course, yeah.
Anyway, there you go. That's that story. Nice to have Nightcrawler back.
Yeah.
Kitty cried for a moment. But yeah, the X-Men are not dead, my friend. They are leggings. Is that how it's pronounced? Leggings?
Legends.
Isn't that how it? No? It's legends, right. So yeah, they are legends. They are legends.
And it's a nice way to end this podcast, right? Because it just kind of ends, right? Like that's it for X-Men.
We're done. I mean, it would be the right time to bring on a new writer,
right? A
new artist, new writer.
Yeah.
This is the time when the book can go in a whole new direction.
Totally.
That's not what's going to happen.
I do love just. He's like, I can send you to any time, any dimension, any era. How about modern day Australia?
Matt says, and so Logan became Patch, the worst disguise. Yeah. Sandy says, laugh my ass off. X-Men are legends. Yeah, it's just like this thing that everyone thinks they're dead, and yeah.
King Billy.
Oh my god.
That's it.
Just I was looking over, it's I'm thinking a lot today about the legacy left by cartoonist Ed Piskor. It's been 1 year since we lost him, and I was reading over like this section of the story in his X-Men Grand Design, as you and I talk a lot about Claremont's Grand Design ?
Right.
Like, is there this? We know he has a few things in big scope vision, like the Magneto redemption arc. He has this, vision for the school, but a lot of these smaller stories that turn into big stories, does he actually have an idea in mind? And so Piskor created this series called X-Men Grand Design, where he posits like, let's see what happens if you tell it as one big story, unified story. Are there some themes that come out? And he fudges creatively, takes creative liberties with a few things, like simple things like during these scenes, what uniform is Rogue wearing? What uniform? I shouldn't say uniform.
Right.
It's a costume.
Yeah.
The uniform would imply that everyone wears the same.
Yeah.
But he puts people in the costumes he wants them in. So, Colossus is wearing that classic one, and Rogue is wearing her Jim Lee one most of the time. Storm gets her powers back in that scene. So I was kind of wondering how he plays out. What's the emphasis like on seeing another artist like tackle these moments?
Right.
It's neat. Colossus goes through the adversary.
Yeah.
And he's like a little gummier. And there, Forge is casting his spell.
Yeah.
And just from a cartooning point of view, Piskor is just in love with this idea of if you color the paper off-white, then you can have white as power. So all these times, like, white is this mystical effect.
Yeah, yeah.
Which is, okay, that's fun. Have a good time with it. But it basically, he takes a little more time to figure out the stuff with Forge. And there, Roma is way more ethereal and more of a deity.
Yeah, I was going to say, more godlike.
Yeah, so she plucks them. But he's also got the story of Cable and Sinister kind of happening at the same time. But yeah, that's where it kind of ends. Just he tackles it in a few pages. And it's neat to see, again, another take on that moment in X-Men, in the X-Men legacy for these amazing legends. So, it was... Final thoughts on the Fall of the Mutants.
I think as we chatted at the beginning, I don't know what that title means. I guess unless it's this idea that this particular group of mutants is kind of being erased from public memory.
But then that's not the title to use.
No, right, exactly. Yeah, it did feel like kind of wrapping it up pretty quickly. I wasn't quite convinced of the Naze, Storm, Journey, Forge, the adversary, Roma. It all seemed to kind of happen pretty quickly.
This feels like one of those times where I want Dave Filoni to come along and recontextualize.
Right.
Like the way he talks about the prequels.
Mm-hmm.
And then his contributions to the Clone Wars show and a few other parts helps re-legitimize, or I don't know, maybe legitimize isn't the right word, but it adds some narrative weight to the pieces that Lucas put in play.
Sure.
I feel like if you were to kind of go back, or if the animated series was to take a crack at this long arc, they could rejig it to make it really, really great. I've mentioned a few times now because I can't get past it, the connections between some of the Hellboy stuff. And I say this because, without spoiling the Hellboy whole series, for his entirety of his life, there are beings on different planes of existence watching him. And humans are worried that, he is evil, and other deities and fairy folk are concerned that he is the bringer of the end of the world and all those kind of things. So like there are those themes of chaos and order, beginning and end, creation, destruction, of a reality. They play out in that series too. And of course, Mignola's aiming for a different audience and he's approaching it in a very different way. But I think that there is room for the X-Men in that kind of a story if you plan it out. I think when you just on some sort of monthly deadline hash out this tale that has the biggest of all stakes, I think it misses. Mm-hmm. As a kid, I just want to watch the fight, and like the fight is so short. Mm-hmm. Naze doesn't even do anything to them. He just takes the beating because there's metal. I can't really fight, and they just shove him down. They flush him down the toilet.
Yeah, that was a bit of a strange one. I was like, oh, is that cold iron? The thing that I am clearly susceptible to.
Right.
How did you know?
I do think there are good themes at work here. I just don't think the execution lives up to its potential. It really does feel like he's, I don't know, going through the motions, or maybe this isn't the right format for this kind of storytelling. I'm not sure. Again, by that I mean mainstream corporate monthly comics aimed at 10 to 14-year-olds or whatever it is at this point. Anyway, I'm glad this story is kind of finished. I want to see what comes next. It's interesting to get a new chapter. And, I do have that fondness for the Outback era X-Men as some more things happen and, we get more good things coming. We see another seed planted for Excalibur at the end there. Nightcrawler's up. He's conscious. So I don't know how long it's going to be before he's mobile, but let's assume it happens between the panels. And we know that Excalibur happens like end of 88, I think is when ish. So that's coming soon, dude. That's coming soon. David says iron, the thing that humans make everything out of in 1986. There's a reason when X-Men 97 included the adversary, no one watching remembered him. When was the adversary there? Was he a character with a speaking part? I've watched this show a few times now. I guess I hadn't read this issue in 30 years when I watched it. So do I have to go back and watch X-Men 97? David, tell me more. Without spending the yes, not okay. So Naze is the adversary, isn't he? Yes and no. At this moment in time, the big owl monster. Yes.
Gotcha.
So they put a few things together to make that owl monster. They weren't called big eyes, but they were called like the owl monsters are in this too. They're creatures that Naze, who is the adversary at that point, when he's leading Forge toward
the Eye Killers.
Yes, thank you. When he's leading Storm towards Forge's Aerie, so she will kill him. They come across these Eye Killers, which have these big eyes. They're orange, and they're kind of like, and with the beak, the owl monster. So taking the design of them, mixing Naze and the adversary all kind of into one thing, and having that as the antagonist force that Storm has to battle against in her power reclamation episode. That's all in there. Yes. The Eye Killers. Yes. Weird.
Totally.
Weird. Like you said, the adversary is a little on the nose. Like it's a little too vague if you're trying to make a character out of it. But the adversary in 97 wasn't like an agent of. He wasn't the personification of chaos. It was like almost like the personification of her doubts, like her inner voice, the sense of like the negativity within her. There you go. David says, I've read this and listened to you guys read it, and I remember none of this. Yeah, it's okay. I know
that might sum it up right there.
You are unapologetically not into this moment in time in X-Men comics, and I like that idea. Again, like I always say, I like different stories resonate with different people, and the fact that they're not going back to this ever in these other versions is a way that reminds us, like maybe that these aren't the best X-Men stories. Maybe again, the pieces that have gone on to be adapted more cleanly or more strategically into animated series 97 and all those movies. Maybe that tells you that it's not resonating. It didn't really work. That being said, there was an announcement this week that there is going to be a new series by Chris Claremont called Wolverine and Kitty Pryde. going back to that moment in time, right at the end of the limited series, the 6-issue limited series, if I remember correctly, where Kitty Pryde takes on the persona of Shadowcat, is trained by Wolverine's old mentor and nemesis, a guy named a spirit, a possessive demon spirit named Ogun, who can he's Shogun without the show, just Ogun. He wants a new body or a new apprentice or whatever, and Kitty Pryde goes to Japan and he basically gets hold of her, and Wolverine has to free her and fight Ogun. So as that series ends, that 6-parter ends, there's another tale that is told that Claremont wants to dive into, and that cover that I sent you, Chris, I sent an image to you. It looked like that was Alan Davis who drew that.
Oh, okay.
I didn't look close enough to be certain, but anyway. So the new series will be coming out called Wolverine and Kitty Pryde, which is the mirror of Kitty Pryde and Wolverine, set in that moment in time. So that just reminds me that not only do they translate these stories or adapt them to other media, but also they go back to the well when they are successful.
Mm-hmm.
So how many times has Phoenix been reborn? How many times have they, started how does Sentinel?
How many times has Cyclops fallen in love with a redhead? I don't know.
Or had a Sentinel thing, like all these gone back to those dark futures. When a story resonates with an audience, they ask for it again, and no one is talking about Fall of the Mutants and these shenanigans. There you go.
There you go.
What else, man?
Well, we chatted about upcoming appearances. We chatted about the Legend figures. I want to say, speaking of Paddywhacks, certain host of the show is also celebrating.
Yeah.
Celebrating a birthday. Speaking of Paddywhacks, so everybody just want to in the chat, man, Jason over here.
Look at that, man.
Celebrating a birthday later this week. So make sure to give him your digital Paddywhacks.
Hey, man.
Okay?
You don't got to know
birthday,
that.
Buddy.
Thanks, man. No, but it is. It's like, that's why I was talking about Giant Size X-Men. I didn't realize we're from the same week.
Right.
So, yeah, my 50th is in a couple days. And, thanks, Dave.
Whack.
Ooh. Dave, not the front, man. Not the front, the back. Cheers, guys. I'm not a huge, big birthday guy, which is totally fine. But I've always had this extra little affinity in my heart for Giant Size #1 and SNL, like I was joking before, and Jaws. Like I feel like they're from my vintage, not knowing that it was this week. That's wild. Yeah, that's cool. Thanks, Chris.
No problem, man.
50, bro.
Woo.
Boom. In a couple days. We got time. We got time. And this is not an April Fool's prank.
No. But you know what I was thinking, actually?
What were you thinking?
Celebrating proper with you in Montreal.
That's what I was thinking.
Yeah.
So in May, we'll have your
open invite in the chat. Come up to Montreal.
Yes. You'll be turning 45.
I'll be turning 45.
Right around the moment, like a week after, or the end of that week when we get back. So it's a wild time. We can celebrate both milestones in Montreal in style, and neither of us have to drive. So
no, it's the best.
Lovely. Jason Jose says 50 in 2 weeks myself, man.
Happy birthday. That's awesome.
Wild. You know what? It actually isn't that surprising, given that statistically speaking, the amount of people named Jason in like 74 through 76 in North America is disproportionate. It was the #1 name for boys.
I think I've mentioned this to you, but in the 80s, where I'm from, or at least 1980, where I'm from, and especially within my Catholic school, elementary school upbringing, I have a close group of friends. We all met and hung out in public school, but we were all raised by Catholic parents. And there's in the group of 7 people, there's 2 Chris's and 4 versions of Andrew. There's like a couple of Andrews, and Andre, and I think the last one's a Thomas. So it's ridiculous.
Yeah.
There's like only, and it's like then you ask that generation, like, were there only 5 names to choose from? You're like, there was only 5 names to choose from.
Yeah, well,
Michael.
that's the
David,
other one. Is my
Michael.
parents didn't want to name me Michael because it was too popular from their point of view, so they went with Jason instead.
Right.
And of course, that's my middle name, right? It's Jason Michael. So, hey, David says, group of 7.
Art imitating life, bro. Art imitating life.
Yeah, it's the best way. Jason says number 1 is Michael and number 2 is Jason. So those are my 2 names. My parents were not original.
They're not creative.
And number 3? There you go.
I'll take bronze.
Yeah, there you go. All right. That brings us to the end of another episode of Previously in X-Men. Thank you to my good buddy, writer of Group of 7, A Most Secret Tale, and Peregrine's Badlands, out now.
Our new comic.
You can, Chris Hannigan. Thank you for that, Chris. Yeah. Thanks for hanging out with me tonight, having a good time, smoking a cigar. I pulled it out of my backpack. It's been in there for like 10 years.
What backpack did you?
I had a backpack that I was taking to South Africa, and I had a knife and a cigar. I'm like, I can't take that on a plane.
There's only 2 things you must take to South Africa. Any person in a backpack, a knife, and a cigar.
You can find out more about our comics and our upcoming appearances, of course, at group7comics.ca, which, of course, is in the description below. And you can follow us at Group of 7 Comics on social media with the number 7. Please click like on the video, subscribe to the channel. We want to get to 500. We want to get to 5,000. I mean, but let's aim for 500 now. So please support the channel by doing that. And share with us your take on this issue with Fall of the Mutants, maybe with Marc Silvestri's art or Claremont's storytelling, whether you like it or not. It's all good with us. And, of course, we'll see you next week on the show. And thank you, Bubs. Stay Xy. All right. Everyone, cheers.
Have a great night, all.
Knifey cigar.
Knifey cigar.